Alright, welcome to Stop Motion VFX for an Emerald AI and FPS Engine tutorial. So, big congratulations to Will for this awesome AI asset. He has definitely made a really good AI solution here. This is a game changer. I really like this asset, and it plays pretty well with the FPS Engine. Today we'll be looking at the basic how to set up a shooter Emerald AI, going through the documentation as well. So, I have organized myself here with some animations in my animation folder here, and some sounds as well, and my enemy civilian, which is this prefab here from Cincy model. Okay, first of all, ensure of course that you have a nav mesh on the scene, like so. And then for my player controller, as I mentioned before, I'm using FPS Engine. So that's another paid asset. It's a first-person shoot asset, really good, and I spoke with both the developer from the FPS Engine and also Will from Black Horizon Studio, and he said he will make an integration very soon. So today, of course, I will make sure that you can take damage and also give damage, but that will be a part of the integration Will make later on. Okay, let's go first here. Let's see the documentation. Remember to use the documentation. All the good stuff is in here, and of course it's still under development, so there will be much more into this wiki section here, but I'll refer to this when I was setting this up, so it's pretty good as it is. Okay, so getting started, this is the one I'm looking at here. Remember to go and look at all the demo scenes. You really have some cool stuff in there as well. Remember to install the animation rigging package as well, otherwise it won't work. So that's that package here, animation rigging. So go to Emerald AI, and there's different way you can set up the AI. I'm just showing them my way. So in this way, Emerald AI, go into Setup Manager. Looks pretty much same as before. And then we'll just take our enemy, put him up here, and we'll give the tag of enemy. Layer, we'll also give that of enemy. We don't have an animation profile yet. I want to use root motion. So let's keep it as it is. And these are the required components, and these are extras, you want those. I want to have the target position modifier. I want to have my debugger, my UI as well. I want to have a health bar above. And yeah, the risk, I don't need that for now. So set up AI and okay. Cool, close that out. So now we have our enemy here, and he has the tags enemy and enemy. Okay, press the create new animation profile button to create. So let's open up the animation profile. There is some you can already find on the examples, which are really good to use, so you can actually see how the asset works. I would definitely recommend to try those out, but I will start by creating a new one. Save it. Now we have it there. Cool. And we can press hide here. So now we have this, I create a scriptable object, enemy civilian animation profile. Click on that, and then go here and click on the scriptable object. Then here for animator things. So let's start by creating an animator controller. Click on that, hit save. So here we have the basic animator controller. So let's go in and look for the animations here. And I'm not gonna bore you with this. So this is basically just find your animation and just drag them over into the respective slots. So I'm gonna do that first. Okay, so I added in all my animations in what we call the non-combat animation, and now I want to go into have my combat animations in here, just as you knew it from the previous versions here. So most of these can be filled out by clicking these copy non-combat animation type 1. Click that, say okay. So that should have filled out most of the animations here. And remember again, I'm using root motion. Okay, but there is some, of course, you don't have in here, the dodge and strafe, block and so on, so an attack as well. So go in and fill those one out if you need them. The attack is of course required, but you don't have to fill out the dodge and strafe if you don't use them. So those were the animations. Let's open up our enemy civilian character here and give him a gun. So go down to the hand, and I'm just gonna put the gun here under his hand. Okay, so let's go look at his health while we're at it. Health setting, let's set it to 100. Heal rate, we leave that as it is. Hit effect, this is where you can put in, if you say yes, you can put in a hit effect whenever the AI get hits. You can play You can play a prefab effects if you want that. UI, here's where you can set up the health bar if you want. So UI tag, player, UI layers, players as well. And let's see here. Name, display name, yeah, let's give him a name. Emerald AI. And let's see here, we want a health bar. And where do we want that position? So you can see this red line here. Just move that a little bit up. Like so. Cool. That was for the UI component. Let's look at the target position modifier. So right now we want to transform source. I put in the spine here. This gives you this target position modifier visual spear here you can see. And let's actually bring that a little bit upwards. Like so. And also bring the gizmo up so we can better see it, okay? Then we have the debugger here. That's pretty useful as well. There we can see the draw line of sight. This on the scene view, you can see all these different debugging visualization. If you want those are pretty handy. So I'll leave those on. Okay. So let's go into the detection. So for the detection, you need a cause of faction setting here. Right now, this has a standard of red NPC. Let's just give him the street keeper. I made this when I press the open faction manager. You can press the plus button and then give it a new name. So we leave him at the street keeper. So that's this AI's faction. And then we also want to have an enemy, which is our player. And that will be the enemy here. So that was the faction. Let's go look at the detection. So field of view, if we go up here in the scene view, like so. So the field of view here, you can play with that. Same with the detection's distance. Narrow it down or make it bigger. I'll make it like so on 10. Detection and so on. And the head transform has already been appointed by itself. It has auto find it. Or otherwise you can use this auto head transform find. That was a detection. Now let's go to a very important setting, tags and layer. So the player has the tag of player, so we'll leave that. But what do we want him, which layers do we want him to detect? We want definitely the player here. So now we can actually detect the player. Because we're using FPS Engine player hierarchy, this is consistent of different game objects. So you have to go down to this third one called player, where we actually have the capsule collider on and rigid body on. What you're gonna do here, ensure that the tag is player and also have the layer here as player. Okay, so now he should be able to detect him. For the sound, we need to make a sound profile. We don't have one right now, so let's create one. Okay, so when we have that, you can press this edit button, then you will get this up, or you can just go directly to it by clicking on it and then click here, and then you have it here. Then I always lock it down. Then you can put in all these different sounds as you want. That's why I made the sound folder before. So that was my sounds. Let's go back to the enemy civilian. Now we have a sound profile, and the cool thing is you can use this sound profile among all the other among other AIs as well. So that's the cool thing with these scriptable objects. Now go into the combat settings. So in the combat settings, weapon type, we have one gun, so we leave it that. You can of course choose to have more weapons than one. Look at the documentation for that. Combat action settings. This is where you can go in and use these new. If you enable it, you can actually go in and use the default ones: the blocking, the dodge, random movement attack, strafing, switching, and so on. So this is pretty cool. I'm not gonna use those for this tutorial. And then the weapon type here. This is where we're gonna choose a weapon. So let's hit the plus here, and we need a attack transform, right? So go into your weapon here, and I'm just gonna make a empty and call it fire point. Okay, that's the one I have there. So let's bring that in, fire point to the attack, like so. And then because we choose one in our attack scriptable, we have the choose only one attack source here. So that will be the shoot secondary assault rifle here. That's this one. Okay. Now for the ability object, this is also, as you noted from the previous version, where you can create these different abilities. For this tutorial, I'm just gonna use one that's already created, that comes with the demo scenes. So let me see. I'm just gonna check the bullet projectile into that, like so. And if you click on that, then you have these different abilities here. If I click on the bullet projectile ability, you can go in and see how this new layout is actually read out. So this is the bullet itself, and then you have some muzzle flash here. What comes again? You can put your own in here or create one from scratch. A whole new ability if you want that. But I'm just gonna, for the sake of this tutorial, use this one. You can use on the damage amount, random, or just the base. I'm just gonna use the base right now, which is set to 5. Okay. Go back to the enemy civilian. That was the combat and the weapon type here. Behavior. Open it up. I'm gonna leave mine as aggressive. And let's see here. The other ones, I'm gonna put flee on low health. I'm gonna say that to yes. And percentage to flee 20%. That's good enough for me. Leave it as it is. The movement component. This is where you have the turning settings, the alignment settings, wonder type, and so on. If you don't feel he doesn't turn that well, you can actually go in and look at the combat turn speed and the move turn speed. So you can play with those in here. And also, this is also where you can see in the movement settings, if you set to nav mesh, if your movement is driven by nav mesh or root motions. Okay, so with all this setup we have done now, we should actually have, because we saw we have a nav mesh on our scene, we should have a working AI at this point. Let's check it out. Let's see if our, yes, he's already detecting us, he's running at us. Okay, so now we need to set up the actual shooting from our enemy here. And as previously where you went in and make a animation event, that has been done very easy now. You're going into your animation component here, open that up, and then say open animation viewer. Then you have this nice viewer here. And the current animation drop down here, you have all the animation which we have actually put into our scriptable object. We of course want to go down to the actual attacking, so this down here, it also says type 1 attack. I like the way they are organized. Click on that. Now you can see on the scene view here, he's doing the attack, he's showing the attack animation here. And you can just scroll here to see how the animation will play. And I want at the beginning that he should shoot. So maybe at frame 1 here. Then you go to the custom event type here. You say create ability, this one. And then you just click on this plus sign, hit it, create ability, and say apply changes. Like so. And let's close this one out. Yeah. He's shooting at us right now. Nothing is happening at us and nothing is happening. If you look under the API, you can see there's 2 main sections here, damaging an AI and damaging custom character controller. So if we say damaging an AI, then you go through this section here. This is the method here he's using, Will is using for actually damaging the AI. So we need to put in our reference here from what we're using. Are we using a projectile or hit scan or raycast shooting? That will be here. You'll put that in here. So basically this line here, we need to put that into our shooting script. If we go back to our player, then we can look at his weapon controller here and look at the SMG scriptable object. This is the first weapon I have. If you click on that, on the shooting, you can see he's using projectile. So either projectile or hit scan. I'm using projectile. You have to open up a script called weapon controller. This is where all the weapon shooting, projectile and ray casting, and also decals on impact effect and so on, and also look at the different which enemy layers you have. Everything is that handled inside the weapon controller. This is what comes with the FPS engine. Okay, what I did here was I'm just put in the namespace for Emerald AI, and then I want to scroll down and look at the shooting part, right? So here I have the hit scan. If you're using hit scan, that will be here. I will put it here. But since I am using projectile shot, that's right here, I will put that right there. Okay, so what we will be writing here would be if hit, let's see here, if hit dot collider, like so, right? If the collider we hit, we're gonna get a component, and the component we're gonna look at is of course Emerald. AI, and we're using the interface iDamageable, like so. We want to make sure that if it's not null, like so, then we want to do something here, right? Okay, and in this case we want to say hit. In this case we want to say hit dot collider dot get component, and you can of course just copy this one out if that's probably easier. Get the damageable here, and we want to say damage, and then in here, this is pretty important, I'm gonna use something called damage per bullet. So damage per bullet, this is an int value that comes with that's inside the weapon controller. This just means whatever damage I have set inside per bullet, that amount will be damaged to the AI. I'll show that afterwards. Damage per bullet here, and the transform, and I don't want any ragdoll force here, like so. Let's do a debug as well to see if that works. Hit emerald, like so. And this here damage and damage per bullet, if you go up here, you can see I have a damage bullet here, damage per bullet. Okay, if I go back to my player and I'm using the SMG weapon as shown before, inside that scriptable object under shooting, you can see under stats, you can see damage per bullet. I have set that to 5, so let's set that to 25 now. So that means if 4 shots, he has a health of 100, so 4 shots he should die, right? So let's keep it like that. Let's go to the console and play and see if my enemy AI takes damage now. Yes, he's also playing the hill. Yeah, baby. I made it a grunt sound there, just to be funny, okay? Now, how do we check damage here? So there's a Emerald player bridge script here that comes with Emerald. What he says here is that take this component here, make a copy of it, and then go under the damage character controller here, right here where it says the code for damaging your character controller goes right here. Okay, so for this asset that comes with the FPS engine, you have to find out what makes damaging our player here. So what I did was go into the hurt trigger, this component here, and there's a hurt trigger script here. If I open that up, you can see that to damage our player, we have to get the player stats from our player and then go into the damage method here and then put in an int, a float value. In this case it's a float. So up here there's a serialized field called float damage. So whatever you put up here, you can put in a number by yourself, or you can just put in damage. Depends on how you want to look at it. But what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna put whatever damage control, just as we did with the player controller, we're gonna do the same thing with the enemy. So on the enemy weapon, whatever damage the enemy's weapon will shoot from the scriptable object will be the damage what we will have, right? So if we go into the combat and go into the bullet here, bullet projectile, and if we can see, we set the base amount damage to 5 here. If we set it to 50, that means 2 shots on us, then we will die. Why? Because we should also have 100 in health here. If we go down to the player stats here, max health is 100, right? So go in and find this component here and make a copy of it. I already did that, so the original script is here, and I made a copy and just called it dash underscore and then H. Okay, so open that one up, go down to the damage character controller, which is here, and then there's this nice little helpline here, says the code for damaging your character controller goes right here. So the code we want to write out here will be as following: game object get component player stat this one, player stats. Like so. If we have that, then we want to say get component again, and the player stats, this one, and then we want to say damage. Okay, and here you can either put in an amount, but because we want to be damaged by the amount that the Emerald AI damages with, you need to use this value up here, damage amount. So we're just gonna put in damage amount like that and save it out. Yeah, 2 shot and we died. It's 100. He shoot at that. 70. Cool. It works. I would definitely encourage you guys to go in and look at the demo scenes from the Emerald AI. There's some cool scenes in there. There you can see how the different component works as well and learn from those, especially like the demo scenes here. So for instance, if I go in and I enable these 2 characters from the floor. So one is a character I created myself here with a Cincy model, and the other one is actually from one of the demo scenes. So that's why he has this cartoonish look and also the sword. But why I put these in is because they have different factions, and they will go in and they have the dodge combat action on it. So you can actually see how they will go in and fight each other and use these actions I talked about. So let's see it. We're seeing blocking and dodging and dying. So that's pretty cool. Okay, thank you guys for this tutorial here. I will do some more of these Emerald AI. I definitely like this asset. Please go in and like and subscribe. Thank you for your time. See you on the next one. Bye.